Welcome back to another week of Honey from the Word. Today's devotion is titled See the Rainbow. It comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 9, verses 8 through 17. Then God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, As for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. Thus I establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, This is the sign of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. See, storms are a part of life. God made it that way. I want to give you a secret that will help you with the storms of life. Always look for the rainbow. The world looks for the silver lining and sings somewhere over the rainbow. But as Christians, we have something far better than that. So we want to look at three men in the Bible who saw rainbows. The first man who the Bible talks about, of course, is Noah. Noah saw the rainbow, notice this, after the storm. Rainbows are caused by the sunlight filtering through the water in the air. Each drop becomes a prism to release the colors that are hidden in the white light of the sun. Rainbows are fragile but beautiful, and nobody has to pay to see them. The rainbow reminds us of God's gracious covenant and the many-colored grace of God. It is seen as the symbol of hope, the bright emblem of mercy and of love. God made a covenant with them. A covenant in the biblical sense implies much more than a contract or a simple agreement. A contract always has an end date, while a covenant is a permanent arrangement. If the rainbow reminds us of God's faithfulness and grace, then why do we fret and worry? God hasn't promised that we'll never experience storms, but He has promised that the storms won't destroy us. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. Isaiah 43:2. When the clouds appear and the sun is hidden, we have nothing to fear. Maybe you're going through a storm right now and you're wondering if the Lord even cares about you. Trust Him. The day will come when you'll see the rainbow and know that He's been faithful to work out His purposes for you. Mark Twain and his friend William Dean Howells stepped out of a church just as a violent rainstorm began. Howells said, I wonder if it will stop. And Mark Twain replied, It always has. And you know what? He's right. It always has. Why? Because God made a covenant and He always keeps His word. Have you ever gone through a day, a week, a month, a year, and wondered, will it ever stop? Will the storms of life stop? Will the difficulties of life stop? Will the troubles ever come to an end? Let me tell you, there's always been and always will be a rainbow at the end. Why? God has made a covenant with us. Look up and see the rainbow. The second person mentioned in the scripture who saw the rainbow is Ezekiel, in chapter 1 and verse 28. Like the appearance of a rainbow in a cloud on a rainy day, so was the appearance of the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. So when I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one speaking. You see, Ezekiel saw the rainbow in the midst of the storm. It was a difficult day. Ezekiel had been exiled to Babylon, and the city of Jerusalem and the temple were about to be destroyed, but God was still on the throne. You can't close your eyes to the storm and pretend that it's not there, but you can look for the rainbow in the midst of the storm because it's there. Look at the rainbow as I read these scriptures to you. Job 26 and 12. He stirs up the sea with his power, and by his understanding, he breaks up the storm. Psalms 107, verse 29. He calms the storm so that its waves are still. Isaiah 4 and 6. And there will be a tabernacle for shade in the daytime from the heat, and a place of refuge and for a shelter from storm and rain. Isaiah 25 and 4. For you have been a strength to the poor and strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shade from the heat. For the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. When the thunder clouds roll and the lightning zigzags across the sky and the rain begins to fall, you can look up and see the rainbow. In the midst of a storm, that is what Jesus did. He arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm in Mark 4 and verse 39. And then the next man who saw the rainbow was John in Revelation, chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. After these things I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, "Come up here, and I will show you things which must take place after this." Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he who sat there was like a jasper and a sardis stone in appearance. And there was a rainbow around the throne. It appeared like an emerald. Excuse me. He saw the rainbow before the storm. John saw a complete circle, not just a bow. He saw that God was on his throne, and that meant that everything was under control. Before Jesus left, this is what he said: "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." John 14:27. You and I will experience storms until we are called to heaven, and then all storms will cease. Expect the storms, and don't be afraid of them, because God is always faithful. Always look for the rainbow of God's covenant promise. Like John, you may see the rainbow before the storm. Like Ezekiel, you may see it in the midst of the storm, or like Noah, you may have to wait until after the storm. But you will always see the rainbow of God's promise if you look by faith, because He will never fail you.